What's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. This one here is a tribute to our ancestors. And the reason why I say that is a very country, very Caribbean, very home style, very comforting dish that we are making using black-eyed peas. Yeah, it's the end of the year, the start of the year is coming up soon, and we always, you know, according to our ancestors, we start off the year with some black-eyed peas, and it's good luck for the entire year. Stay tuned, you're gonna love this one, man. The first thing we've got to do is to season the meat, and here I have, well, first of all, this is 3 pounds of salted pigtail, which I boiled. The water was all the way to the top. I boiled it for about 30 minutes. I poured that water out. I rinsed it and allowed it to cool down. The two reasons why we do that: to take out some of the salt that's in there and to help tenderize the salted pigtail. So we're going to push that aside for a second. Push it aside for a second. Here I have 4.5 pounds of chicken, and it's pretty much the back, the leg with the thigh and back attached. So this is the drum. Here we go. We got a thigh and one of the back pieces, dark meat, and I've taken out most of the fat that I could find and all of the skin. It is a pretty, it's a fatty dish once it's all done because of the salted pigtail in there. We got the skin in there. We've got the coconut milk in there. We're gonna have some olive oil in there. So we're trying to cut back some of the fat if we can. So we removed all that skin and most of the fat. I might just wash my chicken with lemon juice and cool water. If you don't do that, don't do that. That's your thing. Yeah, I know some of you already starting to think, well, Chris, what about some chicken breast? Yeah, chicken breast will work, but it won't give you the same results as dark meat with bones. I assure you that. We are going in with 2 heaping tablespoons, and that is my Caribbean green seasoning. This here is a staple in my house. If you're new to Caribbean cooking, we've talked about this before. I'm just gonna add this directly in there as well. We've talked about it before. I'm not gonna go too heavy with the salt because the remaining salt from the salted pigtail will be enough, and we'll taste it at the end to figure out where we at. But Caribbean green seasoning is a blend or puree of all the herbs along with garlic and pimento peppers and anything you like putting in your dishes. Now, the Spanish-speaking Caribbean got theirs, and the French-speaking Caribbean got theirs. So we've got sofrito, and we've got a piece. English-speaking Caribbean, we've got Caribbean green seasoning. That is fresh ground black pepper, and I puree mine. Just one more little talk about that. I puree mine with olive oil. It remains nice and fresh and green, and you get all that herbal elements. Some people use water, some people use vinegar, and I found those two, not so much for Uncle Chris. We're gonna give that a good mix and set it aside. You will need a nice big heavy pot, and I've got my cast iron pot here. In goes, it's on a medium flame. I'm going with a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. Just a little bit more, come on, squirty squirt. Right away, onion, scallion, and I'm repeating the same flavors I have in my Caribbean green seasoning, fresh thyme. There's a ton of garlic in my Caribbean green seasoning, but I'm still going in with some garlic, and all I did was I smashed it, and that is 5 cloves of garlic, 1 medium onion, about 6 sprigs of fresh thyme, and 1 scotch bonnet pepper, seeds and everything. If you cannot store scotch bonnet pepper and all you can get is habanero, by all means rock that. If you want to keep it, I mean, they say if heat is not your thing, spicy is not your thing, you don't need to put that scotch bonnet pepper in there. Or, I'll just fish this out for a second here. See the seeds and the white membrane surrounding the seeds there? That is where most of the heat is going to be. If you want to cut that out, turn the heat down, you ain't trying to burn anything, cut that out and discard it, you will be able to better control the Caribbean sunshine, that heat from that scotch bonnet pepper, yeah? But remember, you saw me touching that pepper there. I'm on as a pepperologist. Wear gloves, wash your hands with soap and water. After we've talked about this, you touch your eye, you're in problem. You touch your piggy, you're in problem. You know what I mean? Alright, I want all there. Low heat, 3 minutes on that low heat. The heat is still on low. The kitchen should have that lovely aroma of garlic and onion and thyme and everything else. Now I'm going to go in with something mommy never used. and that is some tomato paste. That's pure tomato paste, because while mommy didn't use that, she would use ruku or uku, which is the anato seeds, and you get that nice red juice out of it, and that would add a nice color and flavor to everything. I man don't have ruku at the moment, so that tomato there, yo, that's gonna help give you some nice color, and the acidity will help balance things off later on as well. And we want it directly here, because in contact with the heat there, what's going to happen is the tomato is going to start caramelizing and bring out a sweetness as well. Now, to add a bit more color and depth, something mommy never did as well too, and you won't see it too much in the Caribbean. It is not a Caribbean thing so much, but when I was in Spain, I fell in love with pimenton, which is that smoked paprika, and I want that to bring in that smoky depth of flavor. And right away, you notice what's going on here. Scrape the bottom just a little bit. If you need to add another tablespoon of oil to the bottom here, if you find that it's overly sticking and burning, we're not trying to burn anything, you can, you know what I mean? And by the way, if you wanted to start off with coconut oil, yo, rock that, alright? I'm going to turn my heat up to medium, and in goes all of that seasoned meat. Make sure that marinade gets in there. And we're just going to mix everything thoroughly. Man overboard. We lost some of the onion and tomato and all that. That's going back in there, yes. It's in a quick little clean up here. And continue stirring that just to coat the pieces of chicken. It's been about 5 minutes since we added the meat to the pot. The star of the show, black eyed peas. I mean to say, it's the new year. We want to bring in the new year with that good luck. So, good to see of that black eyed peas. And it is just from a can. And all I did was I rinsed it, and it goes in there. You want to rinse it really good, because we don't want too much of that grime and the sodium and everything else that it's packed in. The other thing I like going in with for some body, we've got a combination here, pumpkin and carrots. And I had it soaking in water. I don't want the water in here, just so it doesn't discolor. Trying to be as careful as I can without spilling everything everywhere. I'm gonna give that a mix. Now, if you all recall, when I was seasoning the chicken with the salted pigtail, I mentioned that I didn't go too heavy with the salt. Later on, we will adjust that, because that salted pigtail will still have remnants of the salt it was cured in. If salted pigtail is not your thing, you can do this with just chicken. It's completely normal. That is coconut milk out of a can. That's why it's sort of settled there. And also have some chicken stock made out of a couple chicken cubes. Just gonna give that a little stir. Now, besides not including that salted pigtail if you wanted, and I said you can use just chicken if you wanted, but if smoked turkey is your thing, yo, rock that smoked turkey, man. Nobody ain't trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. This is your meal, you know what I mean? You eating this at the end of the day. Try to bring that up to a boil, and we'll let it go for about 10-15 minutes just to pull everything together and to help that chicken and everything else start cooking. I'm starting to see bubbles, so that means it's coming up to a boil. That's exactly where we want it to be. I'm just going to tuck everything down, give it another little quick stir, shaky shake, put everything down below that liquid. Once we add the rice later on, we will need to add some more liquid, but for now we're just working with this. I don't know if you guys noticed this. This is a handmade, yo, I can't remember the name my friend has for it, but if you're interested in one of these little gizmos, this is handmade. The wood is unique. My friend who lives out in the Laurentians, out in Quebec out there, he made this for me. I'll tag him here if you guys want to own a couple of these things. Handmade, as I said. Yo, real nice to do these kind of things here, but I want to shift the attention over. We're going to let that go for about 15-20 minutes on that rolling boil, but let's shift our attention over this way. What I have here is taro or dasheen leaves. This is the leaves of the dasheen plant or the taro plant, and I was lucky enough to find it at the Asian market. If you can't find this, your everyday typical spinach will work, and that is how we're going to treat it, as a spinach. We're just going to pull back on here. So we have the leaves, and you want to give them a good wash, which I've already done. So we're just going to pull off the stems any sort of blemishes and all that you will remove. So like right here, notice how it's sort of blemished there. That's going to go into the rubbish. And again, if you can source this, by all means, this is the way to go. Notice on the inside of the leaf here, there's that sort of a rust sort of looking thing. Boom, bam, rubbish. So all we're going to do is peel that back. And you can use the stems as well. I'll show you how to use the stems in a second. Just going to pull this back. Then we're going to grab our knife. And we're just going to chop it up into ribbons, like so. So all I did was I made a roll out of about 3 or 4 leaves and about 1/2 centimeter ribbon, like so. And that's going to go directly into the pot. That there is pure niceness in any cook-up rice. All we're going to do then is toss that into the pot here, because that's going to take a little bit of a time to cook down as well too. And we want to make sure everything is appropriate for the occasion, you know what I mean? Tuck it down into the liquid. Give everything a quick little stir again. And let that continue cooking, as I said. Yeah, Pauli's he's angry. Just woke up from sleeping there, so he have to make an appearance on people's video. I'm gonna have to charge this boy pretty soon for interrupting my videos, you know. But anyhow, tuck it down inside there, yeah? You'll notice that I didn't choose to use any of the stems, but if you wanted to use the stems, chop it up maybe about 1 centimeter in length, and you can toss it in here. One thing I forgot to mention, that taro or dasheen bush, the leaves that we use here, this, if you are handling this freshly harvested, so straight off the plant, you will want to rub your hands and coat it with some vegetable oil. It will stain your hands, and you know, if it gets in contact, there's a sort of a sap. If it gets in contact with your clothing, it may tend to stain it as well. So be mindful of that, yeah? But for now, we're just letting this sort of simmer up in here. Later on, we're going to add the rice, and everything's going to come together. Yo, New Year's Day looking nice. I'm telling you. I know I said 15 minutes, but it's been 25 minutes since up to a boil, and we reduced it down to that sort of rolling boil and simmer. You notice how the spinach or the bhaji or the dasheen bush leaves or the taro leaves, so many names for this, it's starting to fall apart now. That is exactly what we want. I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes before I add the rice. The reason being is because I really want to pull out the flavor from that salted pigtail. And speaking about flavor, I'm going to go in. That is some pimento pepper. And this has been in the freezer. These are pimento peppers. The stem goes where my thumb is there. Full of flavor, no heat whatsoever. And it's also called seasoning peppers for that same reason, because it gives the dish a wonderful flavor. And building on that flavor, I'm going to go in with a bit of grated ginger in there. So, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I had the lid on, but slightly ajar. So there was a space, maybe about 1 centimeter or so of space in there. Just going to grate some of that ginger in there. 5 more minutes, and then the rice is going to make an appearance. Well, as you can tell, the rice was added. That's 2.5 cups of parboiled brown rice, which was washed. Unfortunately, when I thought I was recording, I wasn't recording. Turn the heat up to high. We want to bring this back up to a boil, and then we're going to simmer it down just until that rice starts getting nice, fat and plump and soaking in all that beautiful flavors in there. Because remember, we've got the salty, briny taste from the salted pigtail. We've got that smokiness from that pimenton. We got the coconut milk. We got all them herbs from the Caribbean green seasoning. Ginger, additional garlic. Yo, pimento pepper. Yo, flavors upon flavors upon flavors in here. Bring it up to a boil. It's been about 12 minutes now, and everything is coming together nicely. Just control the heat. Ever so often hit them a little stir. Now, the more you stir it, the more creamy it will get, because you're breaking down the rice and that starch is releasing and everything else. And that is one of the reasons why, the very start, the very start, we had that pumpkin make an appearance. And if you cannot get pumpkin, butternut squash is your best friend, alright? If you wanted to put some okra in here, you can certainly do that. But all we're looking for now is to burn off most of that liquid and to get that rice nice and plump. But just look at it. Oh gosh, focus now. You see that? It's all kind of good luck, because you see them little black eyed peas. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you. 25 minutes later, this is what we're left with. We still got bubbles happening. We still have some liquid on the outside there. I'm going to turn off the stove. The reason why, the residual heat on this cast iron Dutch pot will thicken things up. It will plump up that rice even more. But it's important that we put the lid on now, like so. Boom, bam. Heat off and let that remain there for about 15 to 20 minutes. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irene? Irene. And there we go. It's been sitting there for about 15 minutes, as I said. And it's nice and plump. Everything's come together. And of course, the highlight of the show is the black eyed peas there for that good luck. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. I like it a little bit wet. If you wanted it more dry, well, obviously you use less liquid. If you want it more runny, more soup-like, you can add some more coconut milk in there when you cook it down. Taste it for salt just before you turn off the stove. I'm not sure if I told you guys that, and adjusted. The salt that I used was enough in there. And yeah, enjoy. Prosperous New Year and all them kind of New Year greetings and blessings and all kind of thing coming all the way from Uncle Chris. Irie? Irie. Let me go in for the close-up. Can we get in any... Oh, wrong direction there, partner. What kind of thing is that?